Hey everybody, it's David Sirota. So New York's Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo is rumored to be a potential 2020 presidential candidate. And in recent weeks he's made some headlines criticizing Donald Trump. Cuomo has a history of not being necessarily progressives' favorite Democratic Party official for all sorts of reasons. But Cuomo lately has been making headlines criticizing Trump, which appeals obviously to the progressive Democratic base. What hasn't been well reported is that Andrew Cuomo also recently appointed one of President Trump's top advisors to a key position in the state of New York. It's a really interesting and important story about infrastructure privatization. As you may have heard, President Trump is pushing a plan to sell off public assets to private firms, private financial firms, investment firms, and development firms. That's basically one of the big tenets of the Trump infrastructure plan. And Trump has said he is working with a guy named Steve Roth, who is a head of a private real estate company, a New York private real estate company. So this is a very controversial plan. A lot of folks are raising serious questions about, is this just going to be a giveaway to financial firms and private development firms? Well, at the same time, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has now appointed Steve Roth to a powerful state of New York task force overseeing the potential redevelopment of Penn Station, which could be a hugely lucrative endeavor for the companies that are involved. Roth's firm owns a lot of property around the Penn Station area, so he has and his firm have a personal financial vested interest in that redevelopment plan. And here's the thing, Cuomo appointed Roth to this position after Roth and his wife delivered $344,000 of campaign cash to Andrew Cuomo's election campaigns. $344,000. Now look, we live in a world where millions and millions of dollars are spent on campaigns, but $344,000 is still a heck of a lot of money for a state lawmaker, somebody in state politics. That is a lot of money. The appointment of Roth by Cuomo came only a few months after Roth and his wife had given $95,000 worth of that total $344,000. So the money went in and the appointment came out to a guy who's got a potential vested financial interest in this huge redevelopment plan in the middle of New York City, all while this same guy is advising President Trump on the infrastructure privatization plan, the federal infrastructure privatization plan. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, you always have to follow the money in these stories, just to know the context of what's going on. Now, the funniest thing was that when we reported this story at International Business Times, Cuomo's spokesperson kind of lashed out and said, basically, there's no room here for conspiracy theories. I was struck by the fact that simply reporting on campaign contributions, massive campaign contributions going in, and then an appointment to a key state task force coming out, that somehow reporting that as a conspiracy theory. I mean, here's the thing. It's hard to know whether the money had anything to do with the appointment, but it's certainly important for the public to at least have the context to know that the money went in before the appointment happened. I mean, this is the whole point of campaign finance disclosure laws, is that so that the public has some idea of the money going in, so that that information can contextualize the actions by the government officials who were benefiting from that money. Again, I'll say it. Follow the money. In this case, it's worth following the money of both parties. And the big question will be, with the Penn Station redevelopment plan being such a hugely lucrative and important, infrastructurally important project, that plan, how will that plan interact with the federal plan that is based around privatizing public infrastructure? I mean, look, let's remember, Cuomo, this appointment came only a few weeks after Cuomo joined on a letter with Republican Governor Chris Christie calling for the management of Penn Station to be under private control. Now look, Penn Station's got all sorts of problems right now. So there's a big push to deal with some of the problems at Penn Station. But it's important to follow the money, follow the appointments, understand the players in these situations, especially in situations where so much public money is at stake.